First of all, thank you for joining me on yet another mind-opening video regarding the occult, ancient, lost and hidden history. This is a re-upload of one of my first videos, but with a better audio file. I hope that you will enjoy and learn much from the research I have gathered and put together for you in this video. Please feel free to add your own research, share links, opinions and thoughts regarding the content of this video, for this channel was not created to gain followers, clout or even money, but to share knowledge, research, mythical and ritualistic connections regarding the elites, their mysterious gatherings in the woods and the specific location that was chosen for these occult gatherings. I hope you will gain much insight and truth from this video. Without further ado, let's dive into the myths and meaning behind Bohemian Grove's honored deities, specific locations, and the occult practices of the Bohemian Druids. There is an ancient story that many revere as myth, but I'm going to show you soon that although people don't believe in myths, the elite that gather every year at various obscure locations, such as the Bilderberg meetings and Bohemian Grove, to supposedly discuss worldwide events, absolutely believe in the ancient deities and demigods that are recounted in ancient myths, folklore and legends. Especially the gods/demons that were revered by the Norse German, Celts and Scandinavian cultures, in their Norse, Viking and Anglo-Saxon religions. Some of their most honored deities, Odin, Freyr and Loki, and they worship them openly and in plain sight. So, let's take a look at their descriptions. Starting first, with Loki the magician. Loki is a trickster, the doer of good and the doer of evil. He is also a malevolent entity that can transform and shape-shift into other animal forms, the opposite gender, and even objects. Some of these transformations include a salmon fish, a mirror, an old lady and even a fly. He has taken on many other forms in the past, and were worshipped as a god by ancient religions, such as in Sumer, Akkad, Babylon, Canaan, and even, at one stage in Jewish history, by some pagan Israelites, but that research is for a later video. In more recent times, he is highly revered amongst the secret societies, such as Freemasons, Illuminati, Knights Templars, Druids, and many alchemists Rosicrucians. According to one of the Norse myths, Loki had sex with an earthly giant witch, and she gave birth to some monstrous children, the wolf Fenrir, the daughter, half-human, half-corpse, goddess of the underworld Hela, and a massive sea serpent that has grown so big, and is now encircling the earth, waiting for its opportunity to rise up and destroy the Norse gods and mankind alike, in the Battle of Ragnarok. Though this may just be considered myth today, there is some truth in all myths, folklore and ancient legends, and soon you will come to see that this one is not that far-fetched either. Once you uncover who Loki really is, the choice behind the location of these grove woods, and the rituals that are acted out there will make a lot more sense to you. Now before I show you proof, I first wish to give you a bit of deep research I accidentally but conveniently stumbled across, whilst researching the location and meaning behind Bohemian Grove, as well as looking into the giant owl statue and specifically the well that is sacred to the Bohemians.
Some may know this already, but for those who don't, the meaning of a Bohemian, according to Cambridge Dictionary, is the following. A Bohemian is a person whom is interested in art, music and literature, and whom lives a very informal way of life, ignoring the usually accepted ways of behaving civilized. In other words, they give a new meaning to men behaving badly. That follow a do what thou wilt mantra of Aleister Crowley. Now we have all seen the Bohemian Grove cremation of care footage that was uncovered and exposed by Alex Jones. Even a list of attendees have been provided to the public, and some names on that list are not just artists, musicians or authors, but rather some very successive men whom have secured jobs in the highest position of authority in our social and political democracy. The cremation of care ceremony is one of many ancient ritualistic and theoretical plays, as can be seen in some of these older, black and white photographs of Bohemian Grove. There is one thing many have not noticed regarding these older photographs. Take a good look at the paintings and pictures that are hanging up on trees, or that are strategically placed on various areas of the Bohemian camping grounds. There is one specific old picture that clearly shows whom these modern-day Druids pay homage to, and which demonic entity they plead their allegiance to. He is in fact an entity known by many names, a high-ranking commander-in-chief, not just in our world, but in the unseen world, as once famously stated by Bob Dylan in an interview. So as an in-depth researcher, I could not help but find many similarities between the Bohemians and tales of northern myths. I not only read a lot of source material, but I also listened to audiobooks and folklore tales from around the world. Every country has its own myths, folklore, encrypted, or supernatural entities. Many of these entities resemble some of these paintings and pictures at Bohemian Grove. There is a Pan statue at one of the campsites of Bohemian Grove, called the Hillbillies Camp. The significance behind this entity and Loki from northern myths are eerily similar. Loki and Pan, Cernunnos, the horn god, are considered tricksters, just like the leader of the demons, Beelzebub, whom coincidentally was also sometimes depicted with stag horns, fire, devilish tricks, blood oaths, contracts, sorcery, the evil eye, serpents, and shape-shifting abilities, but above all these, was virgin sacrifice. Take a good look at this statue here. Does it not depict a pan goat-like demon, a virgin female, and a cup that would collect her precious blood? There has been reports of children being hunted in these woods as if they are the most dangerous game to hunt down. There is plenty of other source material and YouTubers that discuss this topic more openly than I can, so on my channel, I tend to show the viewer how myths and folklore is very real to not just these high occultists, but to our ancient, obscure and true history. Therefore in today's video, I tend to show the viewer the symbolic meaning behind the location, the owl statue and water well that is sacred to these Bohemians that annually gather there in its dark and mysterious woods to perform ancient rituals and theoretical plays that have a very real impact on our reality and future. In order to understand the significance behind Bohemian Grove's assemblies, one has to dive back into the time of the Druids, their gatherings in sacred woods, and look into the magic wells described in the northern myths. Very soon you will see the connection between the ancient Druid masters and the occult masters of Bohemian Grove. The location and purpose chosen for the Bohemian Grove assemblies. According to the Norse myth, there are 3 magical wells in the Norse mythology stories. The first well is the Well of Ord. It is located above the Yggdrasil tree of life, where the 3 sisters of fate weave every child's destiny, and guards at their names are Ord, Bird Andi, and Skuld, which literally means past, present and future. This is the place where Ordine gathers the gods of Asgard together to discuss events unfolding in the 9 realms. This gathering of the leading gods later became the gathering known as the Thing Assembly to the Anglo-Saxons, Norwegians, and Vikings. A Thing was the governing assembly of a northern German society, made up of the free people of the community, presided over by law speakers. This meeting place was called a Thingstead and was typically held at a specially designated place, often a field.
The Parliament of the Isle of Man is still named after the meeting place of the Thing. The Thing met at regular intervals, at appointed times, to discuss legislations, elect chieftains and kings, and judged according to the law, which was memorized and recited by the law speaker, the judge. The Thing negotiations were presided over by the law speaker, which were usually a Druid master, and the chieftain or the king. This is annually role-played in many of the Bohemian theoretical plays. In reality, the Thing was dominated by the most influential members of the community, the heads of clans and wealthy families, but in theory, one person, one vote was the rule. It has become very clear that the secret societies, especially the Freemasonic and Skull and Bone Society, revere King Solomon, the son of King David, as a very important figure, which can be seen in their rituals, occult beliefs, building of their lodges, as well as their desperate pursuit for the elixir of life, through the means of incantations, ancient pagan rituals, and the dark arts of alchemy. It is abundantly clear that Solomon, whom was the first demonologist and black magician in the New World, has become their ultimate forbidden and hidden secret, known as the occult, Druidism, alchemy and Luciferianism. I hope that you have seen enough evidence, not only for myth and folklore, and ancient pagan rituals, which are brought back to life in the Bohemian theoretical plays, but you can clearly see from their own plays, who, and in what the Bohemian attendees, clearly believe in, the gods they still revere, and the ancient and pagan practices of the Druid masters. While it may seem childish to most rational adults, that the Bohemians gather annually in the groves of sacred woods, dress up in costumes, to role-play ancient rituals that are only found in stories classified as myths and folklore, there is far more to these old men dressed as fairies, goblins, druids and kings, that meets the eye. Ancient rituals have always included strange uniforms, ancient traditions, memorized incantations, and spiritual rituals, in order to subconsciously enter the spiritual realm, and communicate with the spirit world, and the entities that lurk there in darkness. Do not take my word for it, but do your own research into the occult, and you will soon discover that the true beliefs of the Bohemians is one of sorcery, magic spells, incantations, and communication with nature spirits and entities that require strict rituals before they can be summoned into our reality. That is it for this video. Hope you were able to learn a thing or two regarding the occult, roleplay rituals at Bohemian Grove, and the impact it can have in our reality. Thanks for watching. As always, God bless and continue to shed some light. Hope to catch you at the next video. Take care, and I wish you well.